She saw the exercises, the stretching, and the focus that they shared. She realized that the dynamics were more intricate than she had initially assumed. She felt a sense of conflict, a tug-of-war between her protective instincts and the reality of the situation. Back at home, the tension reached a breaking point. Reba confronted Barber Jean, expressing her concerns and the fears that had been weighing on her. She spoke of the perceived change in Barber Jean's personality, the way she had become more assertive and demanding. Barber Jean, in turn, defended her choices and her desire for self-improvement. She emphasized that she was still the same person, just more confident and less burdened by her previous habits. The conversation was raw and honest, exposing the vulnerabilities that each of them held. In the end, the conflict began to dissolve. They realized that the root of the problem was not the gym, nor the trainer, but rather the fear of losing the connection they had built. They understood that change is inevitable, but it does not have to be a threat. It is a process of growth, both individual and collective. They learned that they could navigate these challenges together, with patience and understanding. The house grew quiet once more. The initial chaos had subsided, replaced by a tentative sense of peace. They had navigated the complexities of their lives and found a way to move forward. They recognized the importance of supporting one another, even when the path forward seemed uncertain. They understood that their relationships were defined not by the things they possessed or the way they looked, but by the love and trust they shared. As the sun began to set, the light cast long shadows across the room, illuminating the quiet beauty of their shared space. They sat together, reflecting on the lessons they had learned and the growth they had experienced. They were, in their own unique ways, survivors, navigating the complexities of life with resilience and hope. They were a family, and that was the most important thing of all. The days that followed were marked by a sense of calm. They continued to work on their health, but they did so with a newfound appreciation for balance. They understood that the goal was not to change who they were, but to become the best versions of themselves. They learned to communicate more openly, to express their feelings without fear of judgment. They learned that it was okay to be vulnerable, that it was okay to ask for help, and that it was okay to grow. They spent their evenings together, talking, laughing, and sharing the joys and challenges of their daily lives. They found comfort in their routines, but they also welcomed the opportunities for change and discovery. They realized that life is a journey, and they were grateful to be walking that journey together. One evening, as they sat around the table, they shared a meal that was not only delicious but also a symbol of their unity. They looked at each other with a sense of pride and accomplishment. They had faced their fears, they had addressed their insecurities, and they had come out stronger on the other side. They knew that there would be more challenges in the future, but they also knew that they had the strength and the support they needed to face them. They realized that the true measure of their success was not in the weight they lost or the muscles they gained, but in the love they shared and the bond they nurtured. They had learned to look past the superficial and to focus on the things that truly mattered. They had learned to value each other for who they were, and to celebrate the unique qualities that made each of them special. As they prepared to retire for the night, they felt a sense of contentment. They had created a home that was filled with warmth, laughter, and love. They were ready for whatever the future might hold, knowing that they were prepared to face it together as a family. And as the stars twinkled in the night sky, they knew that they were exactly where they needed to be. The journey of transformation had been a challenging one, filled with moments of doubt and uncertainty, but it had also been a rewarding one, bringing them closer together and teaching them valuable lessons about themselves and each other. They had learned that change is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. They had learned that it is the people we love who define our lives, and that it is the support we provide each other that gives us the strength to move forward. They had also learned the importance of honesty and communication. They had realized that the misunderstandings that had caused so much friction could have been avoided if they had only spoken to each other with openness and sincerity. They had learned that trust is the foundation of any strong relationship, and that it is something that must be nurtured and protected. As they looked back on the events of the past few weeks, they were struck by how much they had grown. They had faced their insecurities and found the courage to be themselves. They had learned to appreciate the unique qualities that made each of them special, and to celebrate the diversity of their personalities. They were a stronger, more united family, and that was a testament to their resilience and their capacity for growth. In the end, they realized that the most important thing was not the destination, but the journey itself. They had learned that life is a series of lessons, and that each lesson brings them closer to the people they were meant to be. They were grateful for the experience, and they were looking forward to the future with a sense of optimism and hope. The house was quiet now, the lights dimmed. The laughter of the day had faded into the soft whispers of the night. They were ready for rest, their hearts filled with peace and their minds at ease. They were a family and they were whole. They were ready to start a new day, with new challenges and new opportunities. They were ready to live, to love, and to grow. The morning light would soon bring a new beginning. They would rise with the sun, ready to face whatever the day might bring. They would continue to support each other, to learn from each other, and to grow together. They knew that as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything. They were ready for the journey, for the adventure, and for the life that lay ahead. The story of their transformation was not just about weight loss or fitness, but about the deeper meaning of life and the importance of human connection. It was about finding the strength to be true to oneself and the wisdom to value the people who matter most. It was about the power of love, the resilience of the human spirit, and the joy of being part of something bigger than oneself. It was a story that would continue to unfold, day by day, moment by moment, in the quiet corners of their home and in the bustling streets of their lives. And it was a story that they were proud to share, for it was a testament to the power of change and the enduring strength of family. The legacy they were building was one of love, respect, and understanding. It was a legacy that would continue to inspire and uplift, not just themselves, but everyone whose lives they touched. They were a beacon of hope in a world that often felt uncertain, a reminder that with love and support, anything is possible. And as they drifted off to sleep, they were comforted by the knowledge that they were part of something beautiful, something enduring, and something truly special. They were a family, and they were the architects of their own future. They had taken the first steps toward a life of purpose and meaning, and they were committed to continuing the journey, no matter what challenges might arise. They were ready for the future, for the unknown, and for the adventure that life held in store for them. And in their dreams, they saw a future that was bright, filled with joy, and defined by the love they shared. The world outside continued to spin, indifferent to their small triumphs and challenges. But inside the home, there was a sense of purpose and direction. They had found their way, and they were determined to follow it. They were a family, and they were stronger than ever. They were ready for the next chapter, for the next challenge, and for the next joy. They were ready to live, to love, and to grow. The morning sun rose, casting its light on a world that was new, fresh, and full of possibility. They woke up with a sense of purpose, ready to embrace the day and all that it had to offer. They moved about their morning routines with a sense of harmony, their actions reflecting the newfound understanding and respect they had for each other. They were a family, and they were ready for whatever the day might bring. They had learned that life is not about the things they have, but about the connections they make. They had learned that the true value of life lies in the love they give and the support they receive. They had learned that there is strength in vulnerability and power in authenticity. They were a family, and they were ready to share their story with the world. As they sat down to breakfast, they shared a meal that was simple yet meaningful. They talked about their goals, their dreams, and the challenges they were facing. They listened to each other.